Hello everyone, my name is Abolee Muranjan and I welcome you to the conference. Firstly, thank you for patiently listening to my research. The presentation is about the place in making, spatial synergies and supportiveness of urban village. This is a detailed case study in the city of Navi Mumbai based on an urban village called Diwali Garden. In context of today's discussion, the pace of growth of metropolitan cities has had an impact on population density, the built-up area, and change in land use share, which has had a dramatic impact on urban villages themselves. There is a significant shift in the density and demographic composition, which has led to a shift of urban villages to the periphery. Often exempted by the urban development authorities, the protected habitat lands are categorized as illegal or illegitimate, causing a conflict of disparate urban realities, with cities forming various interfaces in urban fabric causing fragmentation. Challenges to planned development confront urban villages, resulting in resilience for survival in contemporary metropolitan cities. So, to say the aim of the study is to analyze Diwali Garden as an urban village and urban settlement of Navi Mumbai via peacemaking process, the everyday activities of local ethnic people, as well as the establishment of traditional and cultural identities in contemporary urban societies. While documenting, a lot of questions came up on which the research was based on. Generally, what was the physical change in the fabric that the community has been adapting for years? What is the kind of art and culture do people living in the village relate to? And what kind of public open spaces are being used as gathering and interactions in and around Diwali Gaon and the activities that take place within these spaces? To further understand the research, a placemaking methodology framework was used in research to explore sustainability values and practices from day-to-day life of Koliwadas. The city of Navi Mumbai was conceived as a satellite city to cater to Mumbai's ever-increasing population. The conceptualization of the city was founded on developing urban society to cohabitate and prosper with the urban villages comprised of agris and coaling communities. The fishermen communities are some of the earliest inhabitants of the villages. These villages have become forced urban residents. There are around 21 fishermen colonies recognized over the city. These early settlements can be found all along the coast. One of the Gautan areas in Navi Mumbai is Diwali Gautan, which is professionally a fishing village located near Bilapur Peak and is situated at the heart of the city. The village is located between the urban center and is surrounded by high-end commercial and middle-class residential zones. The village is also called Sonachi Pandheri, indicating the prosperity of the villages. Diwali Garden is a key junction where the catching and distribution of seafoods to various parts of the city of Navi Mumbai and Mumbai takes place. The fish market is the busiest spot in the neighborhood. The village is developed organically due to topography, and the settlements lie in close proximity, creating a dense fabric. The Gautan is inhabited by the localities of the city and migrant workers as well. The residents have further been adapting to spaces and creating some to call their own. The community area has become dense over time as a result of ongoing influx of migrants and population growth. This has shaped the city's morphology, streetscape, and resident housing arrangement. Densification has mostly occurred through construction in open lands, which has led to create plot subdivision and slowly adding to story of dwellings to facilitate growing families. The residents have altered the surroundings to meet their needs and have adapted to the constantly evolving incremental built environment. There are around 6 temples and one dargah where many locals from neighboring areas come to seek blessings. Residents have built a Raj shrine for Lord Shiva where the puja is held every Sunday morning and everyone is present. Places near the water and there's a huge Shamshan Ghat which caters to the whole city. A dense neighborhood with a very narrow roadway network with limited permeability and high built area to open space ratio. There are only two vehicular entrances to the site, and the car traffic and parking are restricted towards the edge of the main road. The street network within the village is laid up in a fairly organic manner. Streets and alleys function as connections and community social interaction spaces. The streets are semi-private spaces. The entrances to the village begins with narrow streets where people get together and socialize on outlaws. Alleyways open out to organically created little courtyards, chokes, which serve as multi-purpose spaces. Social interaction, commercial activities, children play, and a variety of other activities take place. Women prepare bhakris in group, meet up for morning and evening chai, socialize after supper, and wash their utensils in communal taps. The larger courtyards, which run parallel to the small streets in the settlement center, tend to have buildings with front room being used as shop through a window or through the doors. Culture is layered into the practical daily tasks, transforming and giving them life. In Gautam space, the village is self-contained island with all necessary amenities and professional competence. Diwali, apart from being a fishing market and a jetty area where they repair ferries and boats, host different economic activities such as jewelry stores, vegetables, and fruits, which are produced locally in and around villages and are sold in temporary stalls along the main marketplace. Hostels, renting premises, papad manufacturing, and so on, ranging from bazaars to schools to medical clinics and businesses of various typologies. The requirements are residents are satisfied inside the settlement and within their financial capabilities. The bazaar, which is managed by the fisherwomen, is located along the main access route, and the temples are the most significant public sites in the community. However, open areas outside congested settlements are used for function and other gatherings. The men usually tend to utilize the creek's edge as a place to go fishing in the mornings and as a social gathering space in the evening. In the other open spaces, children play and teenagers play in the evening. Weddings such as Diwali, Navratri, Ganpati, Puja, political meetings, and other events are held on the same grounds. Temporary patra structures along the creek also used for band and song practices. There's a common ground where all the arrangements for events are stored and used appropriately by the community. As a result, each site or each open space has a variety of functions and the users of at various different times of day throughout the entire year. The image and the characteristics investigate that about the notion of the residence culture, which is transferred into the spatial environment. The community's public spaces, common meeting spots, store typology, vernacular decoration of incrementally built dwellings express the character of location and residence, sociology, and culture. A lot of native patterns with the use of vivid colors by the residents are a part of vernacular architecture, since colorful homes and buildings appear unexpectedly in small streets, areas, and are occupied by families and relatives living in clusters with shared chalks. Individuals have created Tulsi Vrindavan outside their dwellings, and the doors are ornamented with hand-woven toranas and rangoli patterns in the chalk, as well as a clothes line and a fishing basket hung outside the houses. There are some of the characteristics which are found in various residences across the community. This incremental architecture encourages local identity and emergence of a spirit of the place. Around the creek seating and recreational built areas are built for men and women to come here after a very long day's labor to enjoy the scenery and space. These spaces are developed by a local politician who belongs to the same community. Due to the density of a tight-knit fabric, presence of flora and fauna is only found outside on the main settlement. Domestic animals such as cow, bulls, chickens wander in the streets freely, and children and youngsters are often seen playing in the cricket on the open grounds. The walls and the areas around the main street bazaar have been painted to depict marine ecology with very brilliant colors demonstrating their creative abilities, recollection, and fantasies. The entire community celebrates Narli Purnima, which is like a coconut offering to the sea god, as a festival on a grand scale. So the purpose of the research was to investigate how a place is constructed spatially, socially, culturally, and politically in an urban village. This approach was led by critically analyzing place, which is synthesized under placemaking, to evaluate numerous elements impacting the formation of urban villages. The table summarizes the case studies conclusion, which are organized around three elements of sustainability, environment, economy, and social. Land spaces, cities incorporate very minimal circulation. The inorganic spaces of Gauthans and Polivadas are often characterized by their richness and diversity. These reflect the phenomena of majority of Indian city dwellers, manners of life having diversity, culture, tradition, and form of community living that we Indians thrive on, which are not really often found in any planned areas. Urban villages are often perceived as dysfunctional, neglected areas, actually happen to be the backbone of Indian cities. Within the urban environment, informal society strives to retain and practice cultural processes found on memories and experiences. The report also intends to argue for the need of remaining aware about these complexities of marginalized neighborhoods by better understanding them in the urban context where they develop. Non-formal cities dwellers frequently exhibit cultural adaptation and survival techniques that might help guide further development. Integration and promotion of such spaces and communities in a way that can be managed in a sustainable manner for future generations rather than disregard them may provide a communal living prosperity and aid in development of the urban society that a city requires in order to sustainably develop. The relationship between the existing city and the proposed should be based on historic concepts. So this is what the paper was all about, and these are a few references which were made to research and write about the paper. Thank you everyone for paying attention and patiently listening to the presentation. Thank you so much.